You learn that Will Smith, he worked super hard for years on end. You learn, if you look at actors, for instance, sure, there are exceptions to the rule where people very young they succeeded and a lot of things aligned. But even then, they worked really hard. And then if you look at some of the older celebrities, some of the most well-known celebrities, you have Han Solo, the guy who played Han Solo in Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, you have George Clooney. These people, they spent 10 plus years and just constantly grinding, pursuing their acting career, taking every initiative they could, until eventually, after years and years of time in their late 30s, they finally got their first big break. Then they're known nowadays as these superstar heartthrob celebrities. People don't see the deeper story behind what's going on here. It's almost apparent from every single field. Morgan Freeman as well, his first big acting break did not occur until like his late 40s or 50s. People don't realize that. People do not realize this, and they're too impatient, and they beat themselves up too much if they do not get success early on. Unfortunately, it is constantly paraded about through viral content and media because these internet overnight success stories are so fanatical and shareable. But that's not always the case. So have patience, still work hard, and so forth. Now, the final piece of the picture is realizing what amazing opportunities you have right now if you're watching this video. You know, some people, they'll constantly complain they're born in America, or they're born in Australia or the UK or wherever else, Canada, and they're just angry at the world. They're just like, you know what? Things aren't going so right. I can barely make any money. It's just, maybe I'm making money, but I'm not where I want to be. I'm just so frustrated about these things. And they're just pointing fingers, making excuses, complaining constantly. And sometimes they already have it really good, and they just, they take so much for granted. Other times they really are struggling, and they forget or they're unaware of what they were born with. You know, there's a quote by Warren Buffett. There's a 1 in over 200 chance that you would have been born in any other country in the world. You could have been born in Cambodia, Nigeria. You could have been born in a place that was much worse off than you, with no electricity, no running water, like many people have, like John Chow. And John Chow, for instance, he went on to make a ton of money online, blogging, and he grew up in that sort of slum-like area. So did Ben Carson. Ben Carson grew up in one of the worst neighborhoods with drugs and alcohol, and he became one of the most well-known neurosurgeons, most successful in the world. It's an incredible story, and it's crazy because I first heard about him years ago when I was still in junior high, and they issued a book about him, and now he's running for president. It's incredible to see these things going on. And the thing is, the point of this whole thing is that most people forget about all the things that their ancestors have sacrificed to get you the opportunities and education that you have right now. Even to this day, there are thousands of people from all sorts of other countries who are doing whatever they can to get their child into countries like America. Why? Because America will give them more educational opportunities. America will give them a greater chance at a better life. America actually has a system that can allow you to almost do whatever you want to do. Sometimes there are systems out there that are so rigid that your options are very, very limited. Factory worker, locksmith, maybe if you're lucky, you can be an accountant or a banker. And I see it all the time. All these different ethnic groups, Chinese people, yes, even the prosperous China, there's even to this day tons of people sacrificing so much. I see it all the time from all these countries, all over the place, different countries in the world, Uganda, to come to the United States. You have it coming from South America, all these people, because they know this is the land of opportunity. And I think that is such an incredible, amazing thing. And people who get there, you know, they take it for granted, they're pissed off, they're not appreciative of these things. And it's true, it's so true, and I think it's a wonderful system. It really pushes people to work harder. It really, you know, finds the best people, those who are working the hardest, willing to do the most to succeed. And because of that, for years now, we've been seeing all sorts of different ethnic groups who have succeeded coming to countries like the United States of America. I'm not saying it's the best country in the world. In certain ways, it's not, in terms of health and food and you know, longevity or happiness, but nonetheless, it's helped out so many different ethnic groups, from Italian Americans to Mexican Americans to Korean Americans, Japanese Americans, Chinese Americans, all these different groups, Taiwanese Americans, and you get all these different people coming out of there, and from the hard work of their parents, go on to do incredible things. And we will keep seeing this, and this is why you need to be thankful for what you have. Maybe you don't live in America, but if you're watching this video, you probably have some opportunities right now that other people do not have. People will kill to be in this country. You know, I've been reading these stories about people who have literally sacrificed everything they had just to have free time to get access to the internet, because oftentimes their tribe or village, they only have one computer, just to possibly learn something from there, maybe start their own website, to create something at a chance at a better life. These things that we take for granted, you know, movies, people spend hundreds of millions of dollars to create this thing, and we have this entertainment like that, whereas the richest pharaohs of times past, they would have paid anything to have this experience for just one movie, and they would have laughed and delighted at it, and they still would not have gotten that opportunity because the technology was not there. And yet arguably it's a scientific thing, but being aware of it is important too. It's called hedonic adaptation. But every generation just naturally takes these things for granted by nature. But now that you know that you do not have to do this, you know that there's so many groups out there who have sacrificed and done so much, gave away everything to bring their children to a country to have a better opportunity to succeed. And sometimes you know your success will not come initially, but you have to persevere. You have to keep going. And that's how you can get there. Of course, there's all sorts of other factors that you can add to the equation, which is, of course, the general content of all my videos and all the other self-development influencers out there. But the point is, you can do this, appreciate what you have, and do it, because there's tons of people, tons of living examples of individuals who have come before you who have done just that. When there is a will, there is a way. And I mean, I'm talking every ethnicity. Italian American, look at Robert Herjavec. He's this multi-millionaire who's a judge on Shark Tank. He had parents who came here with close to nothing. And every single ethnicity out there, they have representatives who are successful, and you can model those people. Many of them, if not all of them, came to a country like the United States of America with $0 or $1 or $5 or $100. It's so common. There's a lot of deans or presidents of universities that I know, not personally, but I know them, and their parents, that's exactly what occurred to them. Same with mine, same with many others, same with all sorts of different groups of people, Hispanics, Latinos, Canadians. And it's an incredible thing. You know, some people may come to this place, and I've heard these stories. They will settle down, and they look around, and the whole place is like a slum, and they're thinking, wait, this is America? I thought the streets were paved in gold or something like that. And that's not exactly how it works. If it was that simple, people would simply just dig up the gold, and the streets would not be paved in gold for long. Instead, what occurs is this place allows for us to have incredible amounts of freedom and belief in ourselves that really translates into creating money from very little. And it's not just simply as picking it up from the streets, but it can be done. It's constantly being done from all these different ethnicities, and quite frankly, it's a story that happens all the time. If you watch as many interviews as I have, I see it every 3 interviews, every 4 interviews. My parents came here with $2 or whatever else, and it's inspirational and also incredible. How do they do that? They create value in a way that just translate into more. There's so many books on this, but that's it. Hopefully you learned something. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.